Hi there, I'm Jonathan with Common Sense Events, and today we're going to be going over dinner setup, we're going to be going over dinner service styles, and we're going to be going over dinner cleanup at the events that we serve. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube or any of our other media channels, make sure you're subscribed or you're following us because we put out a lot of awesome content. If you are one of our newer team members or an experienced team member, thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to working with you all. I want to jump right in and talk about dinner service setup. Now, this oftentimes is a very unique, very curated setup for the dinner table, and this comes based on the collaboration of the client, the event coordinator, and maybe even the catering company as well. So oftentimes you'll have all sorts of different things and it'll be unique event to event, but generally, and I'm gonna have us put a graphic here on the screen, we're going to have the fork on the left, the knife and the spoon are gonna go on the right of the plate, and it's very important to make sure that the blade of the knife is facing in towards the plate. There's a fun little saying, cut yourself, not your neighbor. Of course, we don't want you to be cutting anyone, but that's a fun little way, a fun little jingle that you can use to remember what direction the knife should be facing. So in any case, again, there's glassware, there's plates. Sometimes there are a few different plates. Sometimes there are a butter knife, bread knife, whatever it is, and those styles will vary based on events. But that's kind of the basic setup and some of the basics that you should understand. And of course, you'll receive more specific instruction when you're on the ground from either your CSE team lead or from the event coordination and the event leadership there. Now, moving right along, once dinner service is set up, oftentimes the event will be going. All sorts of different events have different styles and themes and everything, but many of them share the same flow. Many times there is a cocktail hour prior to the main event, whether that's the reception at a wedding, whether that's a gala, whether that's a dinner, what have you. There is generally a similar flow through events. So during cocktail hour, you'll be walking around tray passing appetizers. It's extremely important that you understand what you're serving and if there are any allergens that you should be aware of, so that if a guest asks you if maybe there's a nut allergy or a shellfish allergy, that you're able to tell them and you're able to intelligently communicate what you're serving and if there are those health concerns there. Of course, if you don't know, you can just say, I'm not sure about that, let me check, I'll get right back to you. And that's an appropriate way to respond to figuring out something that you may not know. Now, moving right along, we're going to cover dinner service styles. There are three main dinner service styles that we see at events commonly, and of course there are others as well, but these are the three main ones you'll see. They are buffet, which is the most simple style. There is family style, which is a little bit trickier, and then there's the plated style, which I would say is the most advanced and the most complicated, and we'll go through three of those right now. The first one, of course, is buffet. Buffet style guests line up, sometimes on both sides of a table, sometimes on just one side, and they'll walk through a line and they'll either serve themselves food out of chafing dishes, or you'll be serving them. You'll be taking their plate, portioning some of the food that's in these heated chafing dishes, and then giving the plate back to them as they go through the line. This is, again, the most basic style and is commonly used for large groups, large events where they need to feed a lot of people quickly. Moving on to number two, the second style is family style. Now, kind of like the name implies, this style is where the catering company or whoever's providing the food assembles a platter, and that platter is what you will be carrying to the table. You'll be setting it down on the table, and again, it's kind of tricky with some of the tabletop setups that are very elaborate with the florals and all of the different knives and spoons and glasses, but it's important to find some room on the table. You set that platter down, and then all of the guests share. They serve themselves from that platter that you're dropping down, and of course you're there to help them provide any seconds or thirds should they need it. But again, in that style, sometimes you're working with a team member to serve one table. You might have two different meat options in your hands, and the server that you're working with for that table might have two different side options, maybe a veggie and a starch like a potato or a rice. So that is the second style, again, family style with the platters. The third and most complicated style is the plated dinner style. Now this takes shape in many different ways. Sometimes you can have synchronized service where everyone serves simultaneously, which is really cool to see, very elegant and beautiful. Sometimes you're just putting the plate down kind of as you get them from the kitchen. But regardless, you'll want to make sure that you're checking in with the catering company or with the event coordinator just to understand how they want the group served. And that that will be communicated to you before you, of course, start serving. Now with plated dinner styles, you'll be headed to the back in the kitchen area or the prep area with your team that's serving that table. Now say it's a group of 10 people. You'll be working with 5 servers and sometimes less if you can carry 3 or more plates. Now, of course, don't overload yourself. Take what you're confident carrying, but in the case where each person is taking 2, you'll have 5 servers handling a table of 10. You'll go up to the table, you'll give them, it's correct to serve from the left and clear their plate from the right. So again, in this style of service, you're taking the plate, you're serving them from the left side, and oftentimes the plate that you're serving is specific to something that they've ordered. Now, of course, it's inevitable. They're gonna see their neighbor's plate with the beef or the chicken or the fish, and they're gonna want that. And so there's sometimes, it is important to be flexible, and it is important to realize that they might change their mind at the last minute, and just to do what you can to accommodate that request. So that was the third and final style that we commonly see at events, the plated dinner style. Again, generally it takes many more servers to accomplish this style for a large group of people. We're gonna move right on to the cleanup. Now the cleanup section is again where all of the rentals are involved. We talked about that at the beginning with the dinner tabletop setup. In this stage, it's towards the end of the event, you're cleaning up, you're wrapping up everything, and you'll be taking back the flatware, the glassware, and the plateware back to a scullery area. You're doing what's called bussing, and you'll be putting all of those things back into their appropriate crates. Now there are different size glass crates for each individual glass. There are different size crates for the plateware and for the flatware, all of the silverware of course. And sometimes those go back to different rental companies. Now these rental companies will drop off all of this stuff at the beginning of the event, and then at the end of the event, sometimes very late at night or very early in the morning, they'll come and pick those things up, take them back to the warehouse and wash them. So it's important we keep everything organized, everything straight and put back correctly in the correct crates. If you have any questions about this or problems, ask a more experienced member of our team, or maybe if there's a representative from the rental company there, you can ask them as well. But it's important to kind of understand where everything is laid out, if there is a scullery area, and if there's no guidance or direction on that, to just kind of set it up in a way that makes most sense and really helps you clean up as quick as possible. So again, those are the things that we're covering for today's training. Thank you so much for listening. Again, subscribe, follow us. If you have any feedback about this video, I'd love to hear it. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you soon.